Hey everybody, real quick, if you need a recap of Season 2 or Season 1, I've got that. I'll put a tab in the upper right-hand corner. You can just click that and get it all caught up. Now, Season 3 picks up right where Season 2 left off. Judy rushes Jen to the hospital. Judy's fine. She's a little banged up, but Jen is in rough shape. She's responsive, but she took the brunt of the hit. Both women, though, are admitted to the hospital. They're both sitting next to each other. And Jen just can't believe that it's another hit and run. Jen then asks Judy, does Charlie know? And Judy tells her, no, but you should probably call him. And Jen's a little bit hesitant to do that because Charlie's had such a tough year. But Charlie's tough year got even tougher because he found the letters. The letters from his mom that she wrote to Judy. So at this point, he knows that his mother hasn't been telling him something, but he doesn't have much time to figure it out because the doorbell rings, and when he goes to answer it, to his surprise, it's a very bloody Ben looking for Jen. Charlie asks Ben if he's all right because his face is all banged up, but Ben seems very out of it, and then he just face plants. Charlie has to pick him up, put him back into Ben's car, and eventually take him to the hospital. When he gets in the car, he sees the vodka bottle, so he knows that Ben's drunk. He sees the windshield, so he knows that Ben was drinking and driving and probably hit something. But when Charlie asks Ben what happened, Ben tells him, I don't really remember. He tells Charlie the last thing he remembers is finding out that they found Steve's body in the woods, and he gets pretty emotional about it. When Ben eventually pulls himself together, he asks Charlie, can you just keep this between us? It could be really bad news if people found out I was drinking and driving and hit something. Don't even tell your mom. Right before Charlie's about to take Ben to the hospital, he gets a phone call from his mother, but he sends it to voicemail. He then drives him unknowingly to the same hospital where his mother and Judy are. And his mom and Judy have found out that they have to go for CAT scans, which Judy's all right with, but Jen wants to get the hell out of there. She has no interest in spending Charlie's birthday in the hospital. But as Judy heads off to go take care of hers, Jen gets a phone call, and as she's reaching for the phone, she knocks over her cup of ice, so now her bed's all wet, which makes her more frustrated. But who she thought would be Charlie ends up being Detective Perez on the other line. Both Detective Perez and Nick headed to the scene of where they found Steve's body, and Detective Perez was really trying to cover for Jen. Nick, being the good cop, was trying to get to the bottom of how this body showed up where it did, who might have done something to it. But Detective Perez was able to sneak away for a little bit and make a phone call to Jen. Unfortunately, she's in the middle of the woods and it's pretty garbled. Detective Perez isn't even able to tell Jen about the body because Nick walks up and tells her that the person who found the body is ready to make a statement. And the lady that found the body recognizes Detective Perez. She even says, I've seen you here before, but Detective Perez is adamant, no, you haven't. But she definitely did. As Detective Perez starts to take down this woman's statement, Jen is calling her back, but getting no answer. And finally, Jen has had enough. She rips out all the wires, and she's ready to just walk out of the hospital. But one of the nurses walks in with a police officer, and they joke about how they thought they had a runner. So Jen has to improvise and say, nope, I was just getting ready to go and do my CAT scan. As Jen goes off to do her CAT scan, Judy is returning from hers, and she's sweet-talking the nurse. She has a certain set of skills, a set of skills that makes it a nightmare on hospitals like this one. When she was a kid, she would fake a seizure so her mom could sneak in and steal meds from the hospital, and she had a very convincing fake seizure. So as she's sweet-talking the nurse, she starts to fake a seizure, while simultaneously stealing the nurse's badge. And when the nurse goes to grab her something to drink, Judy is able to sneak in and steal Jen some pills to make the pain go away quicker. Judy then returns to the room, sneaks the pills under the bed, and she sees the phone's ringing, and it's Charlie. She doesn't quite know what to tell Charlie. She doesn't want to break the news to him. And Charlie, after reading the letter, isn't really in the mood to talk to Judy Hale. Charlie eventually says, Judy, I read the letter, but Judy doesn't know what he's talking about. And Charlie gets so frustrated that he hangs up the phone. At that moment, Ben comes around the corner and knocks into Judy. Since being at the hospital, some of his memories come back, like the fact that he was in a hit and run and he was the driver. It made him a little sick, but it makes him even more sick when he finds out from Judy that they're in the hospital because they got hit by a hit and run driver. While Ben doesn't own up to it, he knows that he was the one driving the car. The excuse on why he's at the hospital, he tells Judy, is because he fell, hit his head. Ben then tells Judy that they found Steve's body. Judy gives him a big hug and starts to apologize to him, but now she's a little bit concerned for another reason. At the moment that Ben is telling Judy this, Jen has returned from her CAT scan, and she's actually sitting in Judy's bed because her bed is still wet from the spilled drink. The doctor comes in and tells her that nothing's broken, but unfortunately the CAT scan found something. A mass. A few of them. So she's going to have to go to an oncologist because there's a very real chance that she has cancer. But the doctor thinks that he's talking to Judy because Jen is sitting in Judy's bed, which means that Jen is fine, besides a few bruised ribs. Judy, on the other hand, she might be living with cancer. It's a relief to Jen, but now she has to figure out a way to tell Judy this. And when Judy returns, Jen doesn't say a word. Judy gives Jen the bad news about Steve's body being discovered, which, of course, doesn't sit well with Jen. But when Jen calms down a little bit, Judy pulls out the pills that she stole for Jen, and they have a good laugh about it. Judy looks Jen in the eye and says, I know this is a lot, but we've been through a lot this year already, and we've survived because we had each other. They give each other a hug, but Jen still hasn't told Judy what she knows. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.